Hello. Today I'm going to teach you how to place a bead on a knit stitch with either a crochet hook or with dental floss. Both of these techniques will give you the same result, it's just which tool you're more comfortable using. So first I'm going to show you how to use the dental floss because that's actually my preferred way of working because I can load my beads ahead of time and then take them with me and not worry about this little dish of beads that's going to fall wherever I am. Just so you see what super floss looks like. Super floss is a long piece of dental floss that has a stiff end on one end and then just regular dental floss on the other end. And what I've done is I've taken a piece and I've tied a knot at the end so that when I load it with beads they won't go past that knot. And I actually already have a piece pre-loaded with beads. So here you can see the knot on the end and I've got lots of beads in it. Do you notice that at a certain point on the dental floss there are a bunch of beads just sitting there? On the dental floss, right after the stiff end, there's an area that's a little puffy, and that puffy area serves really well to hold some of your beads so they don't slide down to the bottom and they're easily accessible to you when you're ready to work with them. So here's my knitting, and it actually already has a few beads placed on it, and that's okay because you can see what we're doing here. And I'm getting ready to place a bead on the next stitch. And actually I think I'll just knit one more stitch here. So I'm going to place a bead on this stitch right here. I'm going to grab my preloaded dental floss and I'm going to take the stiff end and I'm going to go into this next stitch right here on the left hand needle, and then I'm going to fold it in half like that so it makes a little loop. Can you see that? So I've got my little loop. And then I'm going to take a bead and slide it down, and you can certainly do this with more than one bead if your pattern calls for more than one bead. And I'm going to put the other end of the loop back into the bead. So now the bead is hanging there. Do you see that right there? And then I'm going to slip the stitch off the needle, and I can just slide that bead right onto the stitch and then put the stitch back onto the needle. Now sometimes if you're working a pattern that has you placing a bead, it'll tell you to put that stitch onto the right hand needle. Sometimes it'll tell you to place that stitch back onto the left hand needle and knit it as so. So that is how you place a stitch with dental floss. Now if you're going to place a stitch with a crochet hook, you take a crochet hook and you pick up one bead, or more if the pattern calls for more, and place it on the crochet hook. You do need to use a small enough crochet hook that can go through the hole of the bead. And then I'm going to go through the next stitch on the needle, and then I'm going to slide the bead down onto the stitch, and then place it back onto the needle and knit the stitch if the pattern calls for that. So there are two different techniques or two different ways to place a bead onto a stitch. This is a technique that can be used in my Aventina pattern as well as my bergamot shawl pattern.